What's the worst first date you've ever been on? I've told this story on Reddit before, but here goes. So I met this girl on the internet and she seemed really nice and down to earth. We had a lot in common, including our hobbies and politics and stuff like that, so I was thinking we might hit it off. We agreed to meet up in person at a Kennedy Brothers coffee place. Now bear in mind that I'm not super attractive, so up to this point she hasn't seen any pictures of me. Instead we have pre-arranged recognition signals. She walks in the door and I spot her by her clothing instantly and start waving. She gets this sort of uncertain look on her face and walks over and says Sam. And when I say yes she just says haha no and walks out. Feels bad. We went to see the high school's version of American Idol. He was 15 minutes late. I had to save our seats and I had to buy his ticket. When he finally got in he clenched my hand in a sweaty grip throughout the entire night while shaking nervously. It was cute, whatever. He kept making awkward conversation and tried to make me laugh, which I tried to do, politely. Afterward, we walked out of the building to where his mom was picking him up. He kissed me on the forehead, hard. Oh, high school. Made me seriously lol, just wasn't meant to be, man. This is a two-parter. I went out on a date with this girl in first year to a movie of her choosing. And for some reason I'll never fully understand, maybe she was trying to sabotage the date, she chose Borat. For those of you who just don't know any better, there are certain people you go to see Borat with, and people you don't. There are a certain number of possible avenues that branch off a movie date which are effectively eliminated, while Borat gets teabagged by a ginormous foreign man. That's not even the worst part. Just before we are sitting at cafe next door, just chatting, shooting the proverbial it's going pretty well regardless of her movie choice, which had the potential to ruin the night. I see this guy I know from high school and walks up just to say hello and see what movie we are seeing. I tell him Borat with a straight face and he says oh no, that's a terrible first date movie. And before he can say anything else, this girl goes oh we aren't on a date. No, I just picked you up, bought your food, bought you a movie ticket cause I wanted to give myself a mouth ski. Thought I was pretty clear, but girls be crazy for a free meal. One night in the 8th grade, I finally got the balls to ask this girl out. She so happened to be a friend of my best friend's current girlfriend, so we decided to make it a double date. During the movie everything was going as planned. I sat by her while my friend sat with his girlfriend. Then we see a couple of her bratty girlfriends walk into the theater and so happened to see the girl I was with right away. She then motioned with her hand for her friends to come over here. When her friends got to where we were sitting, the girl I asked out turns to me and asked, can you scoot down a seat so I can sit next to my friends? I said sure, so I got up and just walked out of the theater. And to add insult to injury, she stayed there and her friends ate the popcorn I bought. On my first date with this girl I excuse myself to use the bathroom. She gets up and follows me making flirtatious remarks along the way. I think nothing of it, assuming she needed to use the restroom too and was just making small talk. I walk inside the men's restroom and she walks straight in with me. So I says to Mabel, I says, I actually do need to use the restroom. Oh, I'll watch. No. Just no. I was not able to pee in public for a while after that. My worst date was way back in 6th grade. Even though girls thought I was cute then, which I actually didn't know until late high school, I was a super shy geeky kid who played tons of computer games and Legos. But late one night, after a school dance where I slow dancing with one of the most popular girls, her friend called me up. In the most typically cute middle school awkward conversations between the girl's friend and the girl, we became boyfriend and girlfriend. So we set up a first couples date that next Friday to go to the park, maybe the mall, etc. At that time, I started playing the PC game MechWarriors 4, so I was obsessed with MechWarriors. I love them so much that I, poorly, drew battle matches all the time. So, being the cute, but shy and totally inexperienced 11-year-old, I had the bright idea of spending the day drawing battle matches at the park. I showed her my pictures of a Mad Cat MK. Second, what a goth cannon looks like, and how it works. Just the nerdiest 6th grader stuff you could possibly think of. For 2 hours I basically forced the poor girl to try and make up the best battle match with the best weapons. And though she was trying to get us to go to the mall, I wanted to show off my drawing skills and my knowledge of MechWarrior. During the date, I thought I was the hottest stuff in the world. The date ended with her making an excuse to leave and me thinking nailed it. The next day I was met with awkward looks and stares, and finally a classmate told me that the girl I took on the date thought I was a creep nerd, and I was made fun of for the rest of the year as the unpopular geek who was obsessed with robots. There wasn't even an official breakup either. Though on a happy note, I learned how to break dance over that summer, and became the most popular guy in school for all of 7th grade. Middle school. We were 14. Didn't know what the duck to do about women. So I took this one girl to Subway on Valentine's Day for some sandwiches. It was freezing out, with 5 feet of snow. She brought her friend. For the whole meal I talked about the benefits of Subway. We walk back. On the way, her friend kicks a piece of plastic. For some stupid reason, I don't know if it was stress or whatever, I thought it'd be awesome to jump up and down on this piece of plastic while grunting. I kid you not. That's what I did to try and impress my date. I destroyed a helpless piece of plastic, then kicked it onto the road. I still cringe to this day, and I'm trying to black it out. It was very violent. Yet for some reason, this chick still dug me. She talked about how cold her hands were the whole way back. At the time, having so little experience, I didn't understand the signals of her wanting to hold my hand. We got back to school, said goodbye, and we were forever awkward around each other for the rest of our high school careers. Dating this girl who I later realized was pretty much using me to buy her stuff. I took her out to dinner and surprised her with concert tickets to Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains. She was excited, but then proceeded to spend most of the rest of dinner on the phone telling her friends. Kinda rude, but no big deal. Fast forward to the night of the show. I take her to dinner, and she acts icy cold. Barely makes conversation and shrugs me off every time I try to make conversation. Take the SkyTrain down to the venue. Doesn't want me to touch her at all. Pulls away at incidental contact, even. We get to the venue, go inside and I buy us a couple of drinks. She curtly thanks me for the drink, and then says she'll be right back. I grab my drink and head to the stage, where I see her, talking to some other guy. It becomes very clear, quite quickly that they're together, or at least have been before. So I walk up and say, "There you are. What's up?" She replies, "Oh, it's you. Hi. This is my friend." He gives me a nod, and a look that pretty much says it all. They're together, and I've been played like a ducking fiddle. So now I'm in this horrible situation. Jerry Cantrell goes on stage in 30 minutes, and I'm gonna have to either A, go home now, wallowing in misery, or B, stay and see the show, knowing this goddamn is enjoying it with her duck toy, less than 20 feet from me duck. So, I do what any other Alice in Chains fan would do. I get stinking drunk on whiskey and beer, and sloppily dance/mosh for the next 2 hours, trying to ignore that stinging feeling every time I see her grinding on the D-bag. The show was great, and the crowd was awesome, minus the 2, so that was a plus. I went home as soon as Jerry left the stage, said eat poop to the girl on the way out, and pretty much drunkenly sobbed on the ride home. Ducking pathetic. But at least I learned a lesson about how evil some girls can be, and learned to protect my heart more closely in the future. Worst date I've ever been on. As a long-time lurker, this is my first post. But I can't pass this one up, as my worst first date won me a free DVD recently for being the worst first date of the contest submissions. When I was in high school, I went on a date with a friend of a friend. We went and saw a movie, then went out for dinner. I was nervous and awkward, and it ended without much fanfare. The date went okay, and there wasn't a second one, but that's not the bad part. About a month later I went to a party at our mutual friend's house, and I saw her there, and was afraid it might be a little awkward. I had no idea. About an hour into the party, she came up and started talking to the mutual friend while I was standing nearby. After a few minutes of talking, the girl I had gone on a less than awesome date with came up and introduced herself to me. On the bright side, at least it wasn't a memorable bad date for her. TL. Doctor went on a date with a girl who introduced herself to me a month later.